Welcome everyone. We will get started in about a minute to give a few more people a chance to join. While we are waiting, I would love to ask you a quick question. What's the biggest challenge with your article master today? Is it duplicate products, slow onboarding, inconsistent descriptions, supply data quality, or governance? If you would like to, feel free to pop your answer in the comments. If not, just keep that question in mind as we go through today's session because we will come back to it. All right, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining today's LinkedIn Live webinar. My name is Rashad Sayed, and I'm head of operations for ANZ at PiLog Group. Firstly, thank you for taking the time to join us. I know calendars are packed these days, so I will do my best to make the next 25 minutes worthwhile. Today, we are talking about something that sounds fairly simple: article master. But anyone who has worked in retail knows it's anything but simple. Every supplier onboarding, every product launch, every e-commerce listing, every inventory transaction, every pricing update, and increasingly every AI initiative starts with trusted product data. Yet many organizations continue to struggle with duplicate products, inconsistent descriptions, manual processes, and delayed product launches. Today, I would like to share why those problems keep coming back, why many data cleanup projects don't deliver lasting value, and why I believe governance, not cleansing, is really the answer. And don't worry, I promise not to read every bullet point on every slide. Okay, before we get into the technology, I would like to ask everyone three questions. You don't have to answer in the comments. This is not an audit, although it might certainly feel like that. The first question: how many duplicate products exist in your SAP system today? Second, how long does it take your business to introduce a completely new product? Is it days, weeks, months? Usually someone says, well, it depends. And that's normally the answer we hear. And finally, the third question is: how confident are you that the product that you're creating today all doesn't already exist somewhere else in the organization? If those questions made you think, you are definitely not alone. Across retail organizations, we regularly see duplicate products, inconsistent descriptions, supplier onboarding bottlenecks, delayed launches, different information across different channels, and frustrated business users. And most organizations respond by saying, let's clean up the data. And that usually works for a while. 6 months later, they are cleaning the same data again. Why? Because they fix the data, but they never fix the process that creates the data. And that's really the story I would like to share today. So, brief about PiLog, a quick introduction. PiLog has been helping organizations improve master data management for over 30 years. We are an SAP endorsed app, premium certified partner, and work with organizations globally across mining, manufacturing, utilities, public sector, oil and gas, and retail. And we are spread across the globe. We have about 10 office locations across the globe, and in Australia, our office is based in Sydney. And our focus is not just simply cleaning data, is establishing governance so organizations don't need to keep cleaning it. So what does success actually looks like? For us, it starts with one simple objective: a single source of truth for article master data. Today, product information often exists everywhere: SAP, Commerce Cloud, supplier spreadsheets, merchandising systems, procurement, marketing, email attachments. So everyone owns part of the information, but nobody owns all of it. And that's usually where inconsistencies begin. PiLog brings all those activities together into one governed process rather than different departments creating products differently. Everyone follows one process. Mirai, which is our AI companion, then helps automate repetitive activities like reading supplier information, suggesting classifications, enriching descriptions, and detecting duplicates before they ever reach SAP. The objective is not to clean bad data later, it's to prevent bad data entering the business in the first place. So, retail is one of the most challenging master data environments. Think about a simple t shirt, one product, then five colors, eight sizes, different countries, different stores, different online channels. Suddenly, you have got hundreds of article records. And then you add promotions, seasonal collections, warehouse specific information, regional assortments. The complexity increases dramatically. That's why retail needs governance that's built specifically for retail. If you use our standard material master, then it's not going to be very efficient. So PiLog supports assortments, listings, merchandise hierarchies, variants, season validity, and site-specific information, ensuring everything follows the same governance process. This is probably my top slide because it explains exactly where PiLog fits. Let's imagine, Adidas sends you an Excel with 500 new products. Traditionally, someone opens the spreadsheet, searches SAP, checks for duplicates, copies descriptions, sends email, waits for approvals. Before long, you're already working on version underscore final underscore version 7 approved really final XLS. So basically, you have so many versions already created. So, and we have seen all of those, right? So instead, the request starts inside PiLog DQGS. Mirai immediately helps classify the product. It enriches descriptions, applies taxonomy, checks whether something similar already exists, suggests classifications. Then the request then follows configurable approval workflows involving category managers, finance, or data stewards. Once approved, PiLog creates the article directly inside SAP using SAP BTP and APIs. One point I would really like to emphasize over here is that SAP remains the system of record. PiLog is not replacing SAP. PiLog simply ensures the information entering SAP is complete, standardized, and trusted. That allows organizations to maintain a clean core architecture while significantly improving onboarding speed and reducing duplicate products. This is one of the reasons why many SAP customers choose PiLog. We don't operate as another isolated application. We integrate directly into SAP ecosystem. Most retailers today have multiple SAP applications as for HANA, Commerce Cloud, Ariba, IBP, Analytics Cloud, sometimes even third-party e-commerce platforms. And the challenge is every one of those applications depends on trusted article master information. So if one system has incorrect product data, that inconsistency spreads across the organization. So PiLog sits in the middle as the governance layer. Once an article is approved, it is synchronized across the SAP landscape using SAP BTP and standard APIs. And we have recently we have 300 plus SAP certified integrations across the SAP landscape. So that's across procurement, supply chain, e-commerce, marketing, finance. So everyone is working from exactly the same trusted information. That's becoming even more important today because AI also depends on one trusted source of data. So when people hear article master, they often think about one product or one barcode or one description. But retail is rarely that simple. Think about Christmas gift packs or promotional bundles, buy two get one offers, or display units in supermarkets, or returnable packaging, multi-level product structures. One product may actually consist of several components. Those relationships are incredibly important. If they are not managed correctly, inventory becomes inaccurate, pricing becomes inconsistent, and replenishment becomes difficult. PiLog manages all of those relationships while Mirai helps speed up configuration. Instead of creating every article from scratch, users can copy similar products, reuse structures, and automatically enrich missing information. That reduces manual effort while maintaining consistency across the catalog. So, up until now, we have mainly spoken about the article, but an article is much more than a product description, right? So every article also contains commercial information, supply pricing, such as like commercial information such as supply pricing, purchasing information, merchandise categories, product characteristics, commodity codes, and trade compliance. All of this information is used by different parts of the organization or the business. Procurement relies on supplier information. Finance relies on pricing and valuation. Supply chain depends on logistics information. So e-commerce relies on consistent product characteristics so customers can actually find products. If any one of those pieces of information is inconsistent, then somebody in the organization is impacted. That's why we govern all that information together, not separately. Once we have agreed what information is governing, the next question naturally becomes, how do we keep it clean? This is probably my top slide because, in my opinion, it explains why so many master data projects fail. Over the years, we have seen organizations spend hundreds of thousands of dollars cleaning their master data. The project finishes, everyone celebrates over a barbecue. 6 months later, they are cleaning the same data again. Why? Because they improved the data, but they never improved the process that creates the data. So, governance means every new article follows exactly the same process, which means every mandatory field is validated, every business rule is applied, every approval is captured, every change is traceable, every workflow is auditable, and instead of relying on emails, phone calls, or speed dating, the process itself protects data quality. That's the real value of governance. The other benefit is visibility. Rather than wondering whether data quality is improving or not, you can actually measure it by cycle times, approval bottlenecks, duplicate rates, first time right percentages, everything becomes measurable. And that's when master data stops being an IT initiative and becomes a genuine business capability. And once you have built that governance foundation, now AI can really start adding value. So by now we have spoken a lot about governance. The next question customer usually asks us is, can this actually scale? Right? And the answer is yes, absolutely. So whether you're managing 50,000 products, half a million or several million articles across multiple countries, the governance principles remain exactly the same. The platform is designed to support enterprise scale retailers without changing the business process. Whether you're onboarding a handful of new products every week or importing thousands from suppliers, the same governance process applies. That's important because consistency shouldn't disappear as organizations grow. If anything, good governance becomes even more important at scale. Moving on to the next slide. One thing we have learned over many years is that successful master data projects are not really technology projects. They are business transformation projects. Technology is usually the easiest part, but understanding how your organization creates and manages articles, that's where the real works begin. That's why we follow a standard implementation approach where we start by understanding the current process, like such as where duplicates are being created, where approvals are breaking down, which business rules should be automated. Then we configure the governance framework, then integrate with SAP, then cleanse existing data if required, and support go live and continue improving through ongoing governance. And we also accelerate projects using pre-built ISO templates and supplier onboarding capabilities, Mirai automation, and industry best practices. The objective is not simply to install the software, but it's to leave customers with a governance capability that they can continue using for years. So we have spoken a lot about governance. The obvious question now becomes, where does AI fit into all of this? AI is obviously the topic everyone is talking about today. Sometimes it feels like every software company has suddenly become an IT company overnight. Our view is slightly different. AI is very powerful, no doubt about it, but only when it's working with trusted data. Otherwise, you're simply getting poor quality answers much faster. Let's look at a simple example. A supplier sends you an Excel spreadsheet containing, say 1,000 new products, or maybe they send a PDF catalog or simply a website link. Today, someone manually opens a spreadsheet, reads every description, searches SAP, checks for duplicates, writes product description, assigns classification, send approval emails. It's repetitive, right? And it takes time. And it's where human error naturally creeps in. Mirai, which is our AI companion, automates much of that. It understands Excel, it reads PDFs, it extracts information from images using OCR, then reads suppliers' websites as well, understands free text, which is very common, and suggests classifications, detects duplicates, generates standardized descriptions, creates draft articles ready for governance. Notice I keep saying ready for governance because AI is not replacing your product managers. It is not replacing your master data team. It's not replacing business approvals. What it is replacing is the repetitive manual work. The people still make the decisions. AI simply gives them a much better starting point. That's where we see the biggest value. We sometimes say AI doesn't eliminate bad data, and because it just helps bad data travel a lot faster. That's why governance always comes first before AI. So in this slide, I'm gonna show you a quick screen capture of onboarding of a product using our OCR technology. So what you can see on the screen is a chocolate bar, KitKat chocolate bar, and you have a scan of this image of this, and this short session is going to demonstrate how the data gets extracted and classified and standardized. So the user is now logging in into the system, and you can see sorry, my bad, I wanted to pause. So you can see the dashboard, which shows the workflow performance, and then also shows you your top vendors. And here the user is uploading the image of that KitKat chocolate bar. And then the Mirai is analyzing the image. It's detecting it, it's scanning it, and now it has suggested the class, which is chocolate. And then now the data is getting extracted. And Mirai reads the data and then classifies the data. As you can see in the next few seconds, see the extraction is complete, and here's the characteristics value, right? Oh, my bad again. Sorry. It's just playing up. So you can see the characteristics values all generated from the scan. And once you have all the characteristics values filled, the user proceeds and create an article request. And every article request has a unique master record number. All right, you can open that. If you want to make some changes, you can do some changes if needed. And then this screen shows if you want to create variants, right? And you can either select few characteristics, or you can select all characteristics and generate variants. So this is particularly important when you have, for example, a t-shirt with different colors or different sizes with the same specs, right? So you can use this functionality instead of creating every article for a variant. And with this list of variants, you have short description, long description. Also, you can enable or disable this. And one thing we would like to also show is the QC agent findings, right? So this was deliberate because we wanted to show the ability of a QC agent. So it has identified that article group was not properly selected. Now it's been selected, saved, and then submit, and your article is ready to be transferred to SAP if there are no approval workflows. And see how easy it is to onboard an article and manage it. So this is the final slide. Organizations don't invest in article master governance because they want cleaner master data. They invest because they want better business outcomes. Faster product launches, better supplier collaboration, fewer duplicate SKUs, lower inventory, better customer experiences, more reliable reporting, better procurement decisions, and trusted information that is genuinely ready for AI. If I could leave you with one message today, it's this: most organizations don't actually have a data quality problem, but they have a governance problem. So once governance is in place, AI becomes a genuine accelerator rather than another technology layer. I genuinely believe the organizations that succeed with AI over the next 5 years won't necessarily be the ones with the biggest AI budgets, but they'll be the one with the best governed data, because trusted AI starts with trusted data. Thank you everyone for joining today. I hope today's session has been useful and hopefully given you a slightly different perspective on Article Master. If you are currently struggling with duplicate SKUs, slow onboarding, or inconsistent product information, we would be happy to continue the conversation and show how PiLog can help you in your environment. And yes, for those who are wondering, we can do a live demo of the system. And I just thought I would avoid giving our competitors a free product training session today because some of them also joined today. But thank you once again, and I would be delighted to answer any questions. So, there are no questions, but I'll wait for one more minute and then we will sign off. And what you also see on the screen are the two contacts for PiLog Group in Australia. Uh, So Dr. Amar is is VP Marketing Strategy. He's based in Melbourne, and I am based in Sydney. So please feel free to reach out to us, or any of our team from PiLog, and then we'll be happy to help you. Looks like there are no comments, which means the session has been good, or the other way around. But thank you all for joining, and then we will see you again.